Do you want to go around with a machine gun? Do you want to always be moving? Do you want to explode bosses before they even realize they spawned? Then this is the build for you. So before going in depth of how the build actually works, I am going to give you the too long didn't read of what is happening in here. We are going with rapid shot, the machine gun, because when you are shooting this, your crossbow is getting hit. And when you have a lot of hit, you can see the buff up here in the screen that is giving you, for your rapid shot and your grenade skills, fire damage. The more stacks you get, the more fire damage you get. That means that when you throw your flash grenades or your normal grenades, they have a lot of extra fire damage, and your rapid shot too, of course. But since you want to maintain your stacks of rapid shot, of your extra fire damage all the time up, we need to be able to attack and move at the same time without losing speed. And that is why we are going Pathfinder, so we can go for speed while attacking. And that is basically what is happening in here. You machine gun, hit, grenade, always moving, always shooting, always throwing bombs. In terms of power, this build can clear everything. This is my strongest build so far. I cleared tier 4 everything with this build. Even Simulacrum, which is the hardest content in the game. Everything dies to this build. You can accomplish everything. Of course, different budgets of power to get there, right? You have to spend more, but the build is viable for everything in the game. I guarantee you can take it to the bank, you can clear everything with this build. And everything is smooth, by the way. Mapping, awesome, smooth. You are always moving, killing everything, grenades, nothing stops you. Bosses, you throw the grenades down when before the boss spawns, and when the boss actually spawns, proof, he explodes. Everything is easy, everything is fast, everything is silky smooth. So let's go over the gems. Rapid shot is the basis of your build, so of course you need it at the highest level that you can get. We have it with the 5 links, 6 links, with the perfect jeweler sword. You have to put in there the quality, because with the quality you get more hit, more damage. Awesome. We get martial tempo, of course, to attack faster with the rapid shot and get your stacks faster. We go with fresh click because you get more damage for more bolts, and rapid shot is an ability that gives you 100 bolts, so you get a lot from this. Then you get mobility, less movement speed penalty, because this is one of the reasons we are doing this. We are always attacking, we don't stop attacking, so we are moving and attacking at the same time. Mobility is obvious for this. Elemental focus just to hit harder, obviously no problem in there. And then we go with fork because it helps us with clearing when we are in maps. You can swap this out for bossing, but hey, it is not necessarily, who cares about that, dude. Then we get explosive grenade. Explosive grenade is used for bossing. Normally you don't use this while mapping because it has a long fuse. It takes like 5, 6, 7 seconds to explode. I believe it is 6 in my setup, so it is too long. But for bossing, you can calculate when the boss is going to spawn and you throw the grenades there. When the boss actually spawns, the grenades explode and they don't even react and they die, right? But we want the explosive grenades to hit hard for bossing and for tier 4 or for pinnacle content in general, not necessarily tier 4, for any tier of pinnacle bosses, right? So we also get as many levels as we can for explosive grenade. We go with payload because we hit harder. We did not all the time because it is chance to activate a second time, but it generally means more damage. Then we get long fuse. It takes longer to detonate, but it hits harder. We are going for that. Then we get deliberation, supported skills deal 20% more damage, but more movement speed penalty when using that. We don't care about that because we are always zooming around. This is free damage for us. Then we go with fighting fusion, free damage for us, and then we go with concentrated effect. We already have a good amount of area damage. Explosive grenade is only used really for bossing. We don't care about the less area damage, and we are getting a lot more damage. The less area of effect, and we are getting more damage. So this setup is awesome for the explosive grenade. You can see that I have 200k without the extra fire damage that I am getting from the rapid shot, by the way. So this is just the explosive grenade by itself. A lot of damage. Then we have the flash grenade. Flash Grenade is not normally a damaging ability, and it is still 32k. The damage for Flash Grenade comes from having the hit from the rapid shot, right? That is why you use Flash Grenade on mapping, and it explodes basically instantly. For Flash Grenade, we also go for the most amount of quality and levels and all that we can get. The most important thing in Flash Grenade is reach. Supported skills have 80% less accuracy rating. It doesn't matter, it is a big explosion. Supported skills have 35% more area of effect. This shit covers the whole fucking screen. That is what is happening in here. You are going around with your machine gun, you throw flash grenades, everything in the screen explodes because the explosions, you are throwing 3 grenades. We are going to see how we get there. But the 3 grenades explode everything because the area of effect is really, really big. Then we go with ingenuity because we want to be throwing grenades all the time. We need the cooldown. Then we go with magnified effect. We are talking about having big area. There you go. Elemental primal armament to have more damage, easy. And momentum. After moving at least 2 meters during a single use of supported skill, the rest of that use deals 40% more damage. We are always moving. We are always taking this. Awesome. These 3 abilities are basically where the damage is coming from. This is the build. Rapid shot moving, for clearing, flash grenade, for bosses, both explosive grenade and flash grenade. Remember, flash grenade gives you a lot of stun building, so you can stagger bosses if it is needed. We get emergency reload because extra damage, recharging rapid shot faster. It is an easy decision. We go with skills empowered by supported skills in 15% more damage, easy. And skills empowered by supported skills have calling strike. If you are seeing that the boss is going lower, you can reload, calling strike, kill the dude. Herald of Ash is an obvious decision for this build because we are always exploring things. You get Deadly Herald, supported skills in 30% more damage. And we have a bunch of what you think it is needed for your build in terms of spirit, what you can afford. I have herbalism to regenerate more. I can probably take this out and put something else in here. It doesn't really matter. Clarity to get mana regeneration. Precision. I am losing a little bit with the reach, but it really doesn't matter. What does matter is having the companion quadrilla that gives you the haste aura. I already had this because of my other build where I farmed for this guy. You should have a companion with a speed aura. It makes you move and attack faster. I wouldn't say it is needed, but it is needed. Try to get this. At this point of the season, you probably already have it, right? You go with mid shield so that you are tankier. You go with elemental army because that makes the dude tankier. And if he's tankier, you are tankier. And then you get loyalty because 10% of damage from hits is taken from supported companion's life before you. This is what makes you tankier. Because since the dude is tankier and you are sharing life with him, that makes you tankier, right? And that is why you want a companion. Because of the tankiness, but basically the most important thing is the haste speed aura. And those are your gems, dude. Really simple. After that, let's take a look at our gear. We are using all rares. The only unique piece we are using is the belt that is called Chavron's Satchel. And this, the unique effect in here is that life recovery from Flask also applies to energy shield. And you are going to see that because of being a Pathfinder, this is even better. Basically, using your life flask is a line of defense in this build. It's one layer of defense in this build. You are going to be using your life flask a lot. And it is going to be awesome for survivability because you always are regenerating like crazy the energy shield. You have a decent amount of energy shield. It is really good. Plus, you have a lot of evasion, so you are not always getting hit in the shield. I promise you, this is worth it. Use it. It is really good. You are going to get used to be using this, and it is awesome. Now, for the normal rare pieces, the most important thing, obviously, always is the crossbow. You want to use a siege crossbow. The base for your crossbow, you want it to be a siege crossbow. Why? Because the base of the siege crossbow provides you grenade skills, fire an additional projectile. This is very important because you are shooting, again, an extra projectile when you throw your flash grenades and when you throw your explosive grenades. We have one passive node in the skill tree that gives us +1 projectile for grenades. So you have your normal single one that every skill comes with. Then we got one more from the passive skill tree. And with the siege crossbow, we get one more. So we got 3 without needing to use the support gem scatter shot that takes away damage. We don't want that. So we are not needing to use it. And it applies to both grenade skills. So you want the siege crossbow. This is a must. Well, not a must. You can play without it. But I strongly suggest you do this. And what stats are you looking for? Of course, increase physical damage, adds physical damage, adds fire damage, adds lightning, and adds cold also work. Both fire and physical are better. You want the +2 level of all projectiles skill. This is really good. The attack speed is non-consequential. I have it in there because it was the crossbow had it. But what I cared about was the physical damage, the fire damage, the all projectiles, and honestly the 3 dexterity is not bad at all because it helps you balance everything out with your attributes. If I had a strength in there, it is also really good. It doesn't have to be dexterity, strength is really good. But at that point, you are covering your damage with the other stuff, right? For the helmet, we want a helmet that is full energy shield because we are using the node in the skill tree that gives you evasion per energy shield on your helmet. So you go full energy shield on this bad boy. You want mana because this uses a lot of mana when you are going for high levels on your grenade skills. You need a lot of damage, a lot of mana, so you get mana in there. You get intelligence, strength, dexterity. Stats are always good for this build. And trying to round out your resistances, of course. Now for the chest, there is a chest that gives you baseline 5% movement speed. I believe it is called the Falcon chest or Falcon jacket, Falconer jacket, something like that. That is really good. And it is probably the best in a slot. But I wanted something with more energy shield and evasion rating. So I substituted my 5% one. And I honestly didn't even notice. So it is not that big of a deal. This character moves so fast that you don't need the 5% extra movement speed. If you want, you can get the Falconer's jacket, Falcon something. It gives us a baseline for the jacket, 5% extra movement speed. Outside from that, we are looking, of course, for the spirit to be able to slot in there all that we want. But honestly, the most important thing is having high evasion and high energy shield. That is what we want from our chest. As much evasion and energy shield as you can get, that is what we want in the chest. That is why you see that I have slotted the increased armor and evasion energy shield. But also we want resistances, lightning resistance, chaos resistance, chaos resistance. In my case, you can see that I am capped 75, 75, 75, and 74 chaos. So we are awesome in resistances in there. For the gauntlets, we are of course going for something that gives us damage. Remember that gloves gives you damage, adds fire damage, adds lightning damage. If you can get one with 3 of those, it is awesome, but it is also more expensive. And I also wanted to round out my resistances. So I have fire, cold, and lightning in there. Maybe you can go for something else. But basically what you want in your gloves is damage in your 3 prefixes and resistances or attributes in your 3 suffixes. That is what you are going to go with the gloves. In boots, obviously you want the movement speed. I have the 35%, the most that you can get. Awesome. I got energy shield because it is awesome. Intelligence, I told you attributes are always good. And fire resistance and lightning resistance. Of course, you have to juggle out to your resistances, right? That is what you are looking for, rounding out your resistances. For your amulet, it is really important. You have to do this. +3 to level of all projectiles. This is a must. You need the projectile levels on the amulet. That is the only thing that is mandatory. The other things are you can move them around. Of course, I am getting increased evasion rating and increased maximum energy shield. So this amulet is really good for my defensive layers. I also have mana, really fucking good. And I have intelligence, I told you attributes, and chaos resistance, I told you resistances. So this is a really good amulet that is helping me out in all over the place. In damage and in my resistances, my attributes, all of that. The build tries to round out everything in your pieces, right? Then the other place where you can get extra damage is your rings. So you go with adds fire damage, adds cold damage. If you can get it with physical, with lightning, that is fine. You want the increased fire damage in your ring, by the way. 24% increased fire damage. Really fucking good. And I am rounding out my resistances how we have been talking. 35 to fire, 36 to cold, 24 to chaos. Now in my other ring, I already covered my resistances, so I didn't need more resistances. But I am getting adds physical, adds fire, increase fire damage, and I am getting 28 strength and 38 dexterity. I am telling you, having extra attributes is really good to be able to equip everything for the levels of your gems, for the attributes itself to get extra life and extra mana. Look that I am going for intelligence because I have mana problems. You are always using your mana flask because the grenades consume a lot of mana, dude. That is it. And when you recharge, look at how the mana goes down. And you throw your bombs and the mana goes down fast. So we need mana, right? So that is my gear, dude. I have the 3 charm slots. I use the amethyst charm to go over the 75 cap with chaos. But I only need 1%. Who cares? And that is it, dude. That is it. Try to get a flask that gives you charges per second because you are using your flasks a lot. Now, for the Ascendancy skill tree, we are talking about the speed, right? Your speed is unaffected by slows. Awesome. And 50% less movement speed penalty from using skills while moving. This is the whole reason why we go with the Pathfinder. Because you are getting this. It is really important because we are machine gun all the time. We are not losing speed while we are machine gun. This is awesome. And this gives you a skill speed and a skill speed, which is awesome. The other cool thing about Pathfinder, this thing right here. And this is what combos with the belt. By the way, I told you, go Chevron Satchel because it combines with Pathfinder. Check this out. 20% increase life flask charges gain. Awesome. But the cool part is this. Life flask effects are not removed when our reserve life is filled, and life flask effects do not queue. What does this mean? They hit you. You use your flask to recharge your energy shield. They continue to hit you, and you continue to regenerate. It doesn't matter if you cap. Normally, if you use your life flasks and you cap your life and then take damage again, the effect of the life flask went away because you capped. With this node, it doesn't cap. So you are taking damage and regenerating all the time. It doesn't matter. And you are regenerating the energy shield because of the Chevron Satchel. This is a great layer of defense. Yes, it involves you being conscious of this and pressing your life flask. But dude, it is awesome. Like, it is an awesome thing to have. And the other thing we get is basically 6 free passive skill points, which is awesome, to be honest. If you are missing your last Ascendancy, the one that I would not put is the extra points. I will go with the 50% less movement speed penalty because it is necessary and the flask is necessary if you are just with 3 Ascendancies. But with this build, it is really easy to get your 4th Ascendancy, so you get this. Now, for the skill tree itself, what do we want? We want 2 things. Damage, defense, as every build does, and as much movement speed as we can get. So in here, we get increased projectile, increased attack speed, and dexterity. We come down, flask, that is awesome, but we go east because we want this. Increased movement speed, increased evasion, and dexterity, right? In here, very important, 3% increased movement speed, 30% increased evasion. 20% increase evasion, 10% reduce a slow potency of the buff on you, and 10% reduce movement speed penalty from using skills while moving. Those 2 are awesome because we want to be moving and hitting. In here, we are getting damage penetrates elemental resistances. We are doing fire damage all the time. This is awesome, and we are also getting area of effect, which is awesome for us. We continue doing going down. We have in here the Yule. I have a From Nothing that is giving me the Silos Oath. This is not necessary. This is very end game to get as much damage as you want. I am doing it to get this 325 increased attack damage. Not necessary. You can put in there just a Yule that is like this one that is giving you increased fire damage and damage penetrates fire resistance. That is good enough to have in there. In here we get increased attack damage. In here we get increase movement speed, increase skill speed, Are you seeing a pattern in here? We are going for all the same things. By the way, this is going to be linked in the description so you can look at it with patience and replicate it or whatever, or tweak it to your liking. But I am explaining why the choices are there, right? 50% increased fire damage while affected by Herald of Ash. We are affected by Herald of Ash all the time, so that is free damage we are getting in there. In here we have 20% reduces slow potency of the buff on you, and 12% reduce movement speed penalty from using skills while moving. Again, do you see the pattern? This compounds with this and with the one from this all the time. And we have a gem in the skill for rapid shot that also helps with that, and that is why I can move so fast while shooting. So that is the point. That is what you want to accomplish with this build. And we go over here just to get the gem slot. Again, what you want is increased fire damage, and damage penetrates fire resistance. Then going down in here, we want to get here projectile damage, strength, dexterity. Awesome. We get increased projectile damage. Damage with two-handed weapons. We are using a crossbow, two-handed weapon, and this gives me 10 strength, and this gives you 10 dexterity. Now, this circle right here is really important because it is the grenade circle. It gives you grenade skills have +1 cooldown use. That is why my flash grenade has 2 charges and the explosive grenade has 3 charges. And you also have 50% increased grenade detonation time. That is why it is slower to detonate. For flash grenade, it's not a big deal. But grenade skills fire an additional projectile. That is why I am shooting 3. The base one, the one for the siege crossbow, and the one for this. And then in here we are getting more movement speed. 4% increased movement speed if you kill recently. 8% increased attack speed if you kill recently. You are, while mapping, you are always doing this. You are always getting the percent movement speed. And in here I have a Megalomaniac. Just 2 things that are helpful for me. Inner Fade and Burning Strikes. Burning Strikes give me gain 12% of physical damage as extra fire damage. And Inner Fade gives me evasion and energy shield. You don't have to go for one identical to this one. Hell, you don't even need a Megalomaniac. Again, this is end game. But if you want to use a Megalomaniac, just use something that is helpful for you offensively and defensively, like that one. Now for the part upwards, we get in here increased attack damage. This node is very important. +2 evasion rating per 1 maximum energy shield. I told you, full energy shield in here, and we are taking that for evasion. It is awesome. That is, I have 72% evasion. No acrobatics, by the way, but the hybrid doesn't necessarily need the acrobatic. And with the Flask layer, you are fine, trust me. In here, we are getting a bunch of evasion and energy shield. We are getting the socket in here, where I am getting the Prison of Belief with +3 to level of all explosive grenade skills. Again, not necessary, but really good for having more damage. I really recommend having this. There is one with +4, but that is really expensive. And in here we get skill speed, mana regeneration, increase attack and cast speed. But we are going that to get this, which is increased evasion and energy shield, and 4% extra movement speed. Awesome. That is our skill tree. Again, as you are seeing, we are going for defensives in the form of evasion and energy shield. We are going for attack damage, fire damage, and all of that. And a lot, and I mean a lot of movement speed. For the anoint that I have in my amulet, I have Born Away, increase fire damage and damage penetrate fire resistance. You have it in here. Having damage penetrate fire resistance is really, really important. It gives you a lot of damage. You can put it in your weapon with the soul cores, but I recommend having the iron runes in here and instilling the penetrating damage resistance in there, and with stuff like this, like Primal Sundering, right? That gives you that fire resistance penetration. And yes, dude, that is the character. It is fucking awesome. You have in there the skills, the gear. You have the passive skill tree, the ascendancy. I guarantee you, this build is fun. It is smooth. It is one of those builds that you are just chilling, going around all over the place, and you can clear everything in the game, guarantee, dude. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this build. Are you going to try it? Have you tried it, something like this already? Let me know everything, dude. Am I a clown? Am I a genius? Let me know everything in the comments below. I love reading comments even when they don't agree with me. Also remember to like the video, to subscribe to the channel, all that cool stuff. Guys, thanks for being here. You guys are awesome. God bless you. And remember, don't be afraid ever, because this is just a ride.